While most mysterious creatures eventually have their identities revealed, there are some that even science cannot fully explain. Be it something that washed up on a beach or a strange animal seen in the woods, here are the top 10 most mysterious creatures found on Earth. 10. An alien on the driveway. While a neighborhood alien sighting would be quite the shock, most of you would agree that an alien showing up at your house would be absolutely terrifying. Yet, that's what a Colorado woman claimed happened when her security camera caught a video of a skinny white creature opening her front door and dancing down her driveway. Now, while most have dismissed the creature as being the woman's 8-year-old son wearing underwear on his head, a side-by-side comparison by Inside Edition makes this theory seem rather unconvincing, as the two clips are quite different. Regardless, whether or not the video is of an alien or an 8-year-old boy will likely forever remain a mystery. 9. The Mola Tecta. Despite its large 8-foot length, the Mola Tecta somehow evaded human discovery until very recently. As a result, its name is rather fitting, as Mola is the Latin word for milestone and Tecta is the Latin word for hidden. Discovered in 2015 off the coast of New Zealand, the Mola Tecta is officially the first sunfish species to be found since the year 1885. Primarily found in the waters of the southern hemisphere, it has 2 large protruding fins, a small tail, and a relatively flat shape. Yet, given its rather frightening appearance, we just hope we don't hook one on the end of our line the next time we go fishing. 8. The Tully Monster. Although we are almost certain that the Tully monstrum, or Tully monster, has gone extinct, that doesn't make it any less mysterious. The first and only fossil of the creature was found by amateur collector Francis Tully at Mason Creek, Illinois in 1955. And to this day, scientists cannot agree as to what it looked like. At first glance, the 300-million-year-old fossilized monster appears to be slug-like and have eyes protruding from the side of its head. However, where its mouth should be, it instead has a long trunk with a tiny mouth at its end. Now, there is some consensus on where the Tully monster lived. After all, the fossil's lack of hard material and gills suggests it resided underwater. Yet, to this day, scientists are still unsure about quite a bit of Tully monster's basic physical information, most notably not knowing whether or not it has a backbone. Regardless, this funny-looking fossilized fish sure is freaky. 7. The Piasaw. The Piasaw is a half-beast, half-bird creature that is part of Native American folklore. Supposedly, the monster bird was a man-eater that would snatch up hunters, leading to their untimely death. Although original depictions of the Piasaw have all been lost, an image of it was reportedly seen by French explorers Jacques Marquette and Louis Joliet on the bluffs above the Mississippi River near Alton, Illinois in 1673. However, that's not the end of the story. For although this monster was the subject of ancient myth, the Piasaw may just be real. Although it is not incredibly likely to have been a real-life Piasaw, in 1948, 13 people spotted a giant grayish-black bird flying above them in the area around St. Louis, Missouri. According to police officer Francis Henley, the thing was as big as a small airplane, and its wings were flapping, and it was headed southwest, flying at an altitude of several hundred feet. I thought it was a large eagle, but I've never seen one that big before. Yet, given that this occurred all the way back in 1948, the identity of the bird will most likely never be revealed. 6. The Montana Monster. On May 16, 2018, a rancher shot a mysterious-looking creature that he found in his livestock pasture just outside the town of Denton, Montana. At first, wildlife officials were baffled as to what the creature could possibly be. It appeared to be wolf-like, but a few of its features were a little bit off. As noted by a Montana's Fish, Wildlife and Parks, or FWP regional spokesman, the animal's front claws and canine teeth were too short, and its ears were too tall in proportion to its skull to be a purebred wolf. This got the rumor mill churning, and many speculated that the mysterious beast could be the mythical Dogman, or be similar to the iconic dire wolf from Game of Thrones. As a result of all this speculation, Montana's FWP decided to test the animal's DNA to see what it really was. And, to the disappointment of practically everybody, it turns out that it was nothing more than a regular gray wolf from the nearby Rocky Mountains. The Montana FWP went on to say that although they agreed the wolf looked strange in many of the pictures circulating around the internet, their DNA testing revealed a relatively normal-looking, dark brown wolf. Yet, while this mystery may have been officially solved, there are undoubtedly still many people out there that are a little bit skeptical. 5. A glow-in-the-dark shark. When we think of sharks, typically larger species such as the great white come to mind. However, this glow-in-the-dark shark, also known as the American pocket shark, defies all expectations. Discovered in 2013 and captured in 2019 in the Gulf of Mexico, pocket sharks are rather funny looking. After all, not only do they have a bulbous head resembling that of a whale, but they are also very small, coming in at about 140 millimeters. Yet, the most fascinating feature of this shark is its glow-in-the-dark, or bioluminescence capabilities. Near the gills are two pockets that secrete a luminous fluid that enables the shark to hunt in the dark. Additionally, there are clusters of photophores around the body which allow the shark to produce light. Due to their deep sea habitat and small size, pocket sharks remain extremely elusive to the scientific community. In fact, the one caught in 2019 was only one of two in the history of fishery science, with the one before it being caught all the way back in 1979 off the coast of Chile. As told by National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration (NOAA) researcher Mark Grace, both are separate species, each from separate oceans, and both are exceedingly rare. Therefore, we wouldn't be surprised if we must wait a few more decades in order for scientists to catch a third specimen of this mysterious shark. 4. The Ningen. Although there is no definitive proof that these creatures exist, there is a popular belief in Japan that a being called a ningen, which literally means human in Japanese, inhabits the waters of Antarctica. The creature is said to be about 20 to 30 meters long and pale and white in color, yet supposedly similar to humans due to it often having arms, legs, and hands. Now, the concept of the ningen first gained steam on Japan's two-channel community, and eventually, an article was posted in the November 2007 edition of the Japanese Paranormal Activity Journal, MU. This led to multiple ningen sightings being reported from Japanese fishing ships, yet most of these pictures have not been of high quality. However, many contend that because the Japanese government supposedly instructs witnesses of ningens to remain silent, they therefore purposefully alter the quality of the ningen photos in order to make them seem fake. Yet this is one creature that scientists do have an explanation for. The most likely scenario is that these ningen are simply beluga whales that seem to have somewhat human shapes due to the glistening of the water. Alternatively, these ningen could really just be small icebergs whose shape just happens to look somewhat human. As a final possibility, there is even a chance that the ningen are not just belugas, but other aquatic animals such as whales, sharks, or squids. Yet regardless of these scientific hypotheses, ningen sightings continue to be reported from time to time. 3. The Kamchatka Sea Monster. You'd expect a monster coming out of the ocean to have fins, gills, and maybe even a tentacle. But this monster is unique due to it being covered in fur. Found in August 2018 on a beach in northern Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula, the monster is believed to have come from the Bering Sea. At least 3 times larger than the average human, the beast had gray and white colored fur, a possible tail or tentacle, and reportedly smelled horrendous. However, despite its massive proportions, it had no head and appeared to be a large blob. Yet the most notable thing about this creature is that its fur was in fact tubular fur. Tubular fur is rather unique because it is hollow and has the texture of a fiber optic cable, the same type of fur found on polar bears. It helps to keep them warm despite the freezing temperatures of the waters they live close to. Therefore, for a fish of some sort to have this fur is rather shocking. However, while this creature may be frightening, scientists might have found an answer as to what it really is. Although we are not yet sure of the official results, many believe that the creature is a globster, which would mean it is simply part of the carcass of a larger animal such as a whale. As put by marine biologist Sergei Kornev, under the influence of the sea, time, and various animals, from the smallest to the largest, a whale often takes on bizarre forms, he explained. This is only a part of a whale, not a whole one. Now, whether this is true or not is yet to be seen. After all, the horrible stench that came from the monster would support the idea that it is a decaying carcass. However, the tubular fur would support the hypothesis that it could have been its own creature. Yet, be it a globster or not, it definitely was a fascinating discovery. 2. The chupacabra. Although many biologists dismiss the chupacabra's existence, many eyewitnesses across Puerto Rico, Latin America, and the United States tell a very different story. The first sightings of the chupacabra, or goatsucker, first occurred in March of 1995 in Puerto Rico. In this report, a farmer woke up one morning to find that 8 of his sheep had been killed. Yet, the wounds were rather peculiar. Rather than coming from a typical predator such as a dog, fox, or panther, each sheep seemed to have its blood drained by 2 deep bite marks in its neck. However, this was not a one-off occurrence in the area, and by 1996, reports of sightings spread across Mexico and the United States, and soon afterwards to Latin America as well. Unsurprisingly, as the beast began to expand its appetite to include cows, goats, horses, and rabbits, people began to fear that they were next. As a result, hunts for the chupacabra were undertaken, but there was only one problem. No one could agree on what it looked like. While most reports agreed that the creature was a monkey-like beast with no tail, a number of more fanciful descriptions characterized it as having large oval red eyes that sometimes glowed, gray skin, a long snake-like tongue, fangs, and long spinal quills that may have doubled as wings. There were also claims that the chupacabra stood between 4 and 5 feet tall, hopped like a kangaroo, left a foul, sulfur-like stench behind it, and at times even secreted a trail of slime. However, many were quick to debunk the chupacabra's existence, and there seems to be quite a few theories as to what the chupacabra truly is on a region-by-region basis. For example, most of the chupacabras reported in the United States were in fact coyotes with mange, a skin condition that gives them scabs across their bodies. However, in most of Central and Latin America, the prevailing hypothesis is that the bite marks were the work of dogs and coyotes that had killed their prey, yet had not consumed it. With this often arising in canines that are either inexperienced, injured, or weak, in these attacks the prey often survives but then later dies from internal bleeding or circulatory shock. As a result, the 2 holes in the prey's neck will be present and the prey will be dead and drained of blood, but otherwise it will remain untouched. Yet, although the science against their existence is rather compelling, in reality, we'll likely never know for sure whether the chupacabra exists or not. Honorable Mention 1. The Loch Ness Monster. Although most people have written off the Loch Ness Monster as a fraud, there is a chance that it might actually be real. Now, the first account of the Loch Ness Monster dates all the way back to the year 565 AD, where a book entitled Life of St. Columba documented a case of a man being dragged down to the bottom of Loch Ness by an unknown monster. However, it was not until 1871 that a monster sighting occurred again, and it was a famous 1934 photograph by surgeon Robert Kenneth Wilson that popularized the idea of the monster to the world. Known as the surgeon's photograph, it was an extremely blurry picture of what appears to be the head of a dinosaur-like monster swimming through the water. Although it was upheld by many as genuine for about 60 years, scientists eventually proved that the picture was a hoax and that the supposed monster's head was just a 60 to 90 centimeter object pointing out of the water. Of course, despite it being proven that the picture was a hoax, out of the blue, countless supposed pictures of the Loch Ness Monster popped up between 1934 and 1994, and all of them were later dismissed as being fake. Yet as usual, scientists gave several hypotheses to what type of animal could have been mistaken for the Loch Ness Monster. The most common creature that these scientists cited was the European eel, which is found in plentiful numbers in Loch Ness. Although they rarely reach over 1 meter in length, larger eels are most likely what was mistaken as the Loch Ness Monster in the majority of cases. Alternatively, the Greenland shark could also be to blame. While they are not normally found in Loch Ness, they hypothetically could survive in the freshwater and prey on the plentiful salmon found in the loch. Yet regardless of what the creature truly is, what is certain is that Loch Ness will continue to be the subject of folklore and conspiracy theories for years to come. Honorable Mention 2. Bigfoot. Whether you know him as the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, or Yeti, Bigfoot is one of the most popular targets of conspiracy theorists worldwide. Most often associated with the Pacific Northwest, he is usually described as a large, muscular, walking ape-like creature that stands roughly 6 to 9 feet tall. Supposedly found in the forests of Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, and Northern California, there have been well over 1,000 reported sightings of the creature over the years. In fact, it is so widely believed to be real that according to a poll taken in 2014 by the Associated Press, more Americans believe in Bigfoot than in the Big Bang Theory. However, the question still remains as to whether there is any validity to these beliefs. After all, the reality of the situation is that most Bigfoot sightings do turn out to be hoaxes. So, with that in mind, it shouldn't come as much of a surprise that black bears likely account for many supposed Bigfoot sightings. In fact, a 2009 study published in the Journal of Biogeography used ecological niche modeling on reported sightings of Bigfoot to find Bigfoot's preferred ecological parameters. What they found was that black bears had a heavy correlation to these areas, with the article also noting that an upright black bear looks very similar physically to most descriptions of Bigfoot. Now, this evidence is further supported by A.J. Schlebnick, the curator of education at the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center at Yellowstone Park. In 2015, she demonstrated to the Smithsonian Channel that a close relative to the black bear, the grizzly bear, shares a similar height, weight, and footprint to that of Bigfoot as well. Therefore, with both of these things considered, if you ever find a Bigfoot-like creature in the wild, we'd suggest running away as fast as possible, unless you want to become a bear's next breakfast. Number 1. Siphonophore. In April of 2020, scientists off the coast of Australia discovered a new aquatic species that is truly unique. Although it does not yet have a name, it is part of the Siphonophore family and is a string-like creature that is shaped like a spiraled UFO. The outer ring of the creature is estimated to be about 47 meters long, yet its full length is likely closer to 119 meters long. As a result, it has been confirmed to be the world's longest animal, more than doubling the length of the previous record holder, the 55-meter ribbon worm. Although not too much is yet known about this siphonophore, scientists have found that these creatures are predators that reside in the deepest depths of the ocean, with the first one recorded found at a depth of about 630 meters. They are made up of many small clones working together as one animal, and despite looking most similar to jellyfish, they are actually most closely related to corals and anemones. These clones are rather fascinating because rather than perform independent tasks, they instead, as lead researcher Narita Wilson stated, somehow communicate with each other and decide, well, we're going to take over the role of feeding, and another group of clones will take over the role of reproduction. Yet what is perhaps most interesting of all is that this creature was found completely by accident, and that in addition to the siphonophore, the team of researchers found amazing sea cucumbers with long tails that looked like a squirrel and incredible giant hydroids. Given this team's success so far, we wouldn't be surprised if they continue to find even more creatures that would be worthy of this list. That's all we have for you today, folks, and thank you all for watching. Let us know in the comments down below what your favorite creature on this list was, and if you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on all of our latest content.